Coach, first, if you could give your perspective on, you start with what your perspective was on John Morant's situation at the end, but then after that, the impact that your bench gave you in this game, when you look at the box scores and the impact and plus minus, just those guys coming off being ready.
Yeah, very unfortunate. John tweaked his ankle there. He'll be evaluated further, but don't have anything else on that. Hoping for the best, obviously there for him and for our team. So a little bit bitter taste from the win because of that. But like you said, great performance from our whole team. Jaren probably had his best game of the season. Unstoppable on the offensive end, defensively super disruptive. Hands everywhere, block shots, deflections, really an all-around performance, and then just great ball and player movement from our whole second unit. Really nice to watch how those guys have grown together and are playing very well together, even in this stretch without a real 5-man in the starting unit. We wanted to keep that intact, the combinations that we had in the second unit, and today paid dividends there, and you can see the joy in those guys and how they're playing on both ends, and it's a very connected group that's on a string right now.
Just expanding on what you just said about Jaren, I think about a week ago you said that his offensive game will come, and you weren't too surprised. Are you in particular like surprised that it came now instead of later, or is this kind of what you expected?
I don't really put too many expectations. He's been working very hard. The guys around him are looking to put him in better and better situations, and I think he feels very comfortable right now making those simple but not easy reads of whether teams are throwing a second body at him or not. And on most nights, like we've said this from summer on, that Jaren's he's a mismatch nightmare, because you put a bigger guy like Zubac on him and now he'll drive him from the perimeter. You put a smaller guy on him, he can finish on the inside. If you double team, he'll find the open player. So just learning to make those basic reads, again, simple, not easy, and knowing where the other guys are going to be positioned has taken some time, and that's just normal in the process. But also loved his defensive presence today. Looked great out there.
Hey Coach, you've won 8 out of the last 11 games, and it's looking really good right now. Can you explain what you found over the stretch that you haven't seen at the beginning of the season?
Well, we had a very, I don't know what the word is, but Jaren and Ja basically didn't have a preseason with us. So Ja got injured before the first game. Jaren was out for the whole lead up to that. Played two practice games with us. Ty Jerome out. We started the season essentially without point guards and without two of our, let's say, Jock was going to be our third center, and we started without Brandon Clark and Zach Eady. That just put us in a very, very difficult spot early on, where we had to not only find a groove within the different lineups and different type of system from before, but also in different roles that those players were in before, in bigger roles. So there were a multitude of things that set us back. But what we did was just keep working, and all the credit goes to the guys that they've been working day after day, week after week, and we've been trying to turn that into a positive and into a strength. So instead of feel sorry for ourselves and figure out alibis why this won't work, we just put our working hats on and just try to make it work and figure out solutions game by game, how we can make it better. And it looks very different than most teams play right now, and that's because also the guys' skill sets and how they interact with each other is very different. So no real magic tricks, just a lot of work and analysis and then synthesis into a game.
Could you also talk about your personal growth now, being with your international background, being successful in Europe, coming over here, now being a head coach over here? Was there also a transitional period for you personally and your personal growth up to this point? Can you maybe tell us what you learned about yourself and about being a coach in the NBA up to this point?
I mean, you try to grow all the time. So whether it is in Germany, in France, in Finland, or in the US, or in whatever league you're in, that's the idea. We would be very hypocritical for me not to ask myself to grow when we are asking that from our players. Everybody has to evolve and try to be better. And I've learned one thing over the years is always when you have challenging situations, they might feel difficult in the moment, but they're the ones where you actually learn something and you have to come up with solutions. So, but this is not about me, it's not about any individual. We just all try to do our work and all try to contribute to the overall goal.
When you get a bench player of 27, can you talk about the significance of Cam's performance, how he helped you tonight?
Yeah, not just tonight. I think I said like a week and a half or 2 weeks ago that I'm very surprised more people aren't talking about him. He's been just tremendous, and again, you got to look at it like I have noticed there's a tendency in the NBA to talk about the individual and what the individual is doing. But if you would ask Cam, he would be the first one to say that because the unit is very functional that they're playing. The guys, he loves playing with those guys. Jock is setting great screens for him. Kenny Vince opening up spots for him on the perimeter. It was John Conchar also before this, Santi Aldama. They're having a lot of fun playing, and Cam happens to be the engine in that unit. He's a lot of times tasked with the on-ball duties, and that's something he hadn't really done before this summer. And he's one of those guys who's expanded his skill set and carved out a different type of niche, and now just his value in terms of the league is completely different now because he was a shooting specialist, an off-ball shooter, and now he's a guy who can make decisions on ball, and you can play him next to another handler. So that has he's really broadened his skill set and just doing a really high level job right now. And I bet like he's a featured player right now on the opposing scouting reports, and that says a lot. That says a lot about him.
Oh, Coach, coming into a full training camp this season, what did you kind of see with Ja and Jaren as far as what they probably needed to build a team? What did you kind of see as a coach, what you felt like they needed to have around them to be successful?
I mean, we were in the same we were in the same team the whole last season, so there weren't like big surprises. We kind of knew the type of ecosystem they've been successful in. The issue was that because of the injuries, it was very hard for us to create that ecosystem around them. So it put a lot of stress on them to create something, but also not just offensively, but also the defensive ecosystem. So that's it, and now the other guys have shown a lot of growth, and now it's much healthier, the whole thing. And that's like, it is again very easy to talk about one player or another player, like are they performing up to the standards or not, but all of it is just how the whole team is working.
How have you seen Santi adjust his game without Zach in the lineup as well?
Sorry, what was it?
How have you seen Santi adjust his game without Zach being in the lineup?
I mean, he played early in the season a lot without Zach, so he's played most of his career without Zach. He adjusts very well. He's one of those guys that has been playing at least 3 different positions for, let's say, 3 different offensive roles. And for people who maybe have not coached, it's very difficult because there's always a certain system or a certain, I wouldn't call it choreography because it's never scripted, but there are different roles on the court. And when you can just seamlessly step into any one of those or 3 out of 5 different roles and just keep doing that, the flexibility it gives the coach is tremendous. And Santi is one of these guys who can do this, and he's started at 5 today. A week ago he was playing the 3 in units with Zach, and then his home position is 4, and that's obviously very good for us. And he has to bang with the bigger guys a little bit more when Zach's not out there. Both him and Jaren are naturally positioned 4 players or forwards rather than bigs, and they are just tasked with a lot more inside game, but he's able to switch then onto somebody like Leonard and guard him and do a very good job there.
Yeah, Santi's obviously had a lot of growth with his organization before this season, but the fact that he comes from an international background, in what ways did that prepare him for what you wanted from him in your system?
Just having experienced different type of things, like being in the youth system in Spain and also with the national team. I think it's just enriching. We've talked about this with him, but also with Jock Landale, who played in Europe, who's played in Australia, who's played in NBA and NCAA, and those different experiences give the player more range. So ability to adapt to different type of environments and also being involved in the international game. So that's a big strength.
Okay, last question in English. I think we have a couple in Finnish, but our locker room is open right now. So.
Coach, I wanted to talk about, since pace is so important for what you're doing and what's happening in the NBA right now, pace and the possession game. Do you see a progression where it just gets faster and faster and pace-wise and possession-wise, you're trying to get to the next level? Or is it going to level out at some point and you're going to look into other things that are also very important for sport of basketball?
I don't think it's going to level out. Just because you look at any sport and you look at the different decades, start from the 60s, look at soccer or football or basketball, ice hockey, whatever. Finnish, so I have to mention ice hockey. So you can look at it and how the game looked every decade. It's getting faster and faster, and the work rate of the players is rising. And at the same time, the organization of the collective needs to get better at the same time. This is a very, very difficult equation. You know, you go faster, but you're better organized, you're able to make decisions. The speed is not just the movement of the bodies or the ball, but also the speed of thought and the ability to make quick decisions. So that's very rare, and I don't think it'll ever be capped. So that's how the game actually progresses, and the physical advantages that the players from nowadays have, or the technical advantages, they're all there to serve the purpose, which is to help the team win. And a lot of that happens through these three things. So working harder, playing faster, whether it's with the thought or with the legs, and then being better organized. Whatever that means. Like, you can organize the team the teams of today are extremely well organized, but it doesn't always look that way, because I think coaches have figured out that players need more freedom, or like giving them choreography to execute offensively. We do always these 7 actions or 7 passes. That doesn't work as well as being at the same time what we would say aggressive and patient. You're looking to attack all the time, but you're able to go to the next action. That's the gold standard right there.